I lost my transmission, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm just jumping back on here, and I think that was a sign for me to get to the last stage. I was going to take some phone calls. Maybe we'll do that, but I want to do this conscious card pull. I don't know what happened. My complete computer froze up. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to jump back on. We had a nice crowd gathered, and I wanted to maybe take some phone calls. And then maybe do this. Let's pop up the phone. And yeah, my computer froze up, and it was interesting because I looked at my phone, my time on my phone. It was 1:19 a.m. And again, what does that mean? Like, oh, what? I don't know. I don't know what it means. But anyway, I'm going to let some people jump back on here, and Anna, how come my super chat's not on? Well, I was tinkering around with the super chat, and I don't know if being as authentic as I can with all of you. And I know everybody has to, I'm using YouTube's platform and all that kind of stuff, but when you put money in the super chat, 30% goes to YouTube. I understand it's part of doing business. I was just really kind of looking at that, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing that. So I shut the super chat off. And, it's nothing against YouTube. I mean, they're a business entity. They got to, make their money as well. But I just decided to turn the super chat off. So, but anyways, I have other ways through donations and Patreons and stuff like that. So, it's all fine and dandy. I may end up turning it back on, but like I said, it's just tough for me to just take your gracious donations and give 30% of it away. And it's not part of the cause. But again, I guess it's part of doing business. So, all right. So at this stage of the game, folks, I'm just going to try to get a nice size audience to do the collective consciousness card pull. And let's start taking some of your phone calls. So this is your chance. If you have a question, you're more than welcome to call in. And we have, I think I have Christine calling in. Let's see. 206, go ahead.
Hey, Logan, do you know your thing is frozen? This is Christine.
Yeah, I know it's Christine. No, it's back up now. Well, I actually had to my computer froze up completely. And, yeah, it froze up completely. Exactly at 1:19 a.m. And, yeah, whatever that means, right? Because it could go in so many different ways. But I had to literally turn my power button off my Mac and start it back up again. So, but that's, it's technology for you.
I guess.
Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, how's
pull an animal card for me?
Yeah, we can do that for you. Do you have a specific question or what's going on in your life?
Yeah, just what's going on.
Okay. Let's see what you get. So for you, my dear, you got it's in my totem pole, but you got the prairie dog.
Prairie dog?
Prairie dog number 47.
Oh, hey, I think I have a prairie dog.
Yeah, it's in my totem pole.
I think it's in my crown chakra.
Okay. There you go. So, I mean, if it is in your your totem, then maybe this card is reminding you to go look at that chakra point and see if it's blocked or if you need to work on it or something like that.
That could be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of just, I just do my own thing and, like, pretty much, don't really talk to a lot of people. Don't get involved in, petty stuff, and I just have to walk away. I can no longer do it anymore.
Well, you become like fine wine. You realize that your time is valuable and your energy and frequency is valuable, and then you start to make adjustments, and sometimes those adjustments can be quite large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have been because I mean I love people.
Yep.
Not that I don't like people. I guess they don't have anything to make my life better.
Okay.
I have a lot of stuff that makes their life better, but they can't, and it's not like a give and take thing. I just think it's like you got to talk like you have a modicum of intelligence upstairs, and not just just be a bobbin head doll.
Well, that's part of someone's code, though. Some people are, remember, ladies and gentlemen, and Christine, thanks for the call. I appreciate you calling in. I'm going to hang up and see if we can get some more phone calls. But folks, that leads to a very good, perspective, and that is, we're all playing the game of chess, and in a sense, right? And that's why, the chessboard has 64 squares on it, because it's a direct match to the possible codons in our DNA, 64. And it's a direct match to the 64 numbers in the ancient I Ching system, which is tied to the human design. All of you should know what your human design chart is. And if you need to find that chart out, you just go to jovianarchive.com. I'm actually going to leave it into the, put this in here. You should know what your, but that leads into a good perspective, is that we're all playing the game of chess. And if you know the game of chess, on the board, the majority of pieces are the pawns. There are 8 pawns per side for a total of 16 pieces. That is the dominant piece on the board, the pawns. And if we look around the world and the way this game is set up, the majority of people, and this is not putting people down, not belittling people, but the majority of the world are what would be called pawns. And, then you have to figure out what piece you are. Now, it's interesting when we have these kinds of conversations, everybody that's listening and watching this, you would be like, well, I'm certainly not a pawn. I'm not a pawn. For sure, I'm like a queen or a king or a bishop or a rook or, But I can tell you, the people that have the knowledge in this world, they know this is a game, and they know their place. There's a reason why they were called the Knights Templar, the knights on the chessboard. There's a reason why that piece moves in the L shape. Because it's, tied to the 12th letter. All right, so I'm going to be leaving the phone number up here for some of you that want to call in. Here's your chance to call in and discuss whatever it is you want to discuss. Just try to keep it short. I don't want to have 30-minute phone calls for the sake of everybody here, for everybody watching in on here. I don't want to get this thing too bogged down, but here's your chance to call in and discuss what you want to discuss. Maybe you want to talk about a decode that you're doing right now. Maybe it's one of the decodes that I've done. Maybe you want to ask a question about your astrology chart. Maybe you want to talk about your life path, your numerology, your human design, your Enneagram, your personality type. Maybe you want to talk about some of your cosmic code, your blueprint, moon sign, sun sign, Mercury sign, rising sign, midheaven. Maybe you have a question about that. Some of you have questions. Now's your chance to call in and make it happen. Just want to let you know, this is WhatsApp only. So if you don't have WhatsApp, you'd have to download the app. It's really easy to do. It's free to do it. And the phone number is right up there. You'll have to dial the +1. This is not a chance to call me on. If you live in the United States, you cannot call 1-808 and get through, because I'm in Mexico and it would not work. So it is WhatsApp only. And it's your chance to call in, and I'll leave the number up there for a little bit. If we don't get any callers, I will move to the collective consciousness part of this transmission, and we'll end on a really good note. While we're waiting maybe for some phone calls, if we get any, I want to show each and every one of you, because the last part of this transmission will be the collective consciousness tarot card pull. And I want to show each and every one of you what we pulled on the last segment for cards. And it was all the whole transmission. I shouldn't say the whole, but part of the transmission last time at the very end, I went on this long rant about, we were talking about the jab. That's the word you have to use, and soon we won't be able to use that word because that's going to be monitored. But people were asking about that, and we were talking about that, and I was really fixated on explaining to people to stop worrying about if someone's going to go make that choice. Stop giving those people energy. Stop worrying about that whole platform. Each and every time somebody taps into that code, taps into that frequency, taps into that vibration of that topic, essentially what you're doing is you're keeping it alive. You're partaking, you're giving it a slice of your energy. Every time you have a conversation about that topic, whether it be just a basic conversation with your neighbor, whether it's a conversation with your sister, you are essentially feeding that archetype. Because again, everything's all archetypes. So that whole title, that whole process is an archetype. And the very reason, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to share with you, I'm going to drop a truth bomb, or what I believe to be a truth bomb. Maybe you don't think it is. That's totally fine. But the very reason why it has a number 19 after it. In case you're wondering, why is it 19? Well, one of the reasons, esoterically and through the numbers and mathematics and all that stuff, it's tied to the loop. I showed this in my decode of the Jacob's Ladder, if you haven't seen that decode. And there's a loop, there's an anomaly that I found in the string of pi. It's one of a kind. I have not been able to find anything like it. But it's the loop that's tied. It's tied. The Christ is in there. And again, there's nothing anti about what I'm saying. Take it for what it is. But the number 19 is tied to the number 37, which is tied to the number 46. The number 46 is tied to the 19, which is tied to the 37, which is tied to the 46. And that makes its loop the only one of its kind. And I feel that 19 is so pertinent because you know what that 19 is tied to, what word it's tied to. And I want to show you the card that is tied to that 19. There it is. Now we know that title, what that platform that's going on, that big word on the world stage right now, we know that's tied to the beer called Corona beer. And the Sun is the 19th card in the deck. Accident? Coincidence? And of course, the Sun's a battery. The word battery in numerology equals the number 19. So what do you think that whole entity or energy, that whole idea that's going on in this world, can you see how it would be tied to a battery? And it's kind of self-sustaining. And remember, Corona is crown. And what do you think that is? So you got to take it for what it's worth. I mean, I'm just showing you some truth. I'm dropping some, I think they're truth bombs, but what does the esoteric tell you? And, I mean, are the people that are creating these platforms, are they sitting down with the tarot and be like, well, it's got to be called this and then 19 because it's this? Do you think they consciously knew that? See, when you see the world for what it is, and so we're having the line drawn in the sand, And we said on the last transmission that it's well worth your time to not talk about these constructs, to not give any energy to these constructs, and to live and let live. And it's all theater anyway, so if someone wants to go out and they decide they want to go do that, then cool, go do it. I mean, do you get mad at somebody when they decide to go to Disneyland? And you'd say, well, that's different. Why is it different? It's just something they decided to partake in. Well, that's really different because, that could be this or that or whatever. Folks, live and let live. There is no separation on things. I mean, do you get mad at somebody when they decide to go get chemo? When the success rate of that is very slim to none? Do people get mad at people for that? No. The primary people, the typical people will automatically focus on that because that's what they're programmed to focus on. And they won't even think twice about that. They just go do it. Right? So anyway, I wanted to get into, that's right, Jasmina, S is the 19th letter. Yeah, S is for the Sun, which is where Corona comes in. The Sun's the boss, folks. That's right. The Sun's the boss. Tied to the architect, and you have the black sun, the white sun. They're all in bed together. So anyway, I was talking about that, and I kind of went off on a little bit of a left field there, but we had pulled 2 cards last time we did this. I just had it. And it was in relation to me specifically telling people, I shouldn't say telling, suggesting to people to stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop giving energy to other people's lives. Just live and let live. Go do you. If you decide you don't want to partake in that, then that's what you should focus on. And if someone decides they want to go partake in that, then live and let live. You talking about it, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to go do such and such. That's giving it energy, and actually you're participating in it anyway. If you know how magic works. Some of you be like, how can that be possible? Every time you talk about something, you're giving it energy, you're creating, it's all magic. We're all magicians. We're all creating magic. Nonetheless, after we were discussing all this and I kind of went on my rant, the question was about that topic, and we ended up pulling, I ended up doing 2 cards. Usually I just do 1, but it was this card right here, which is the 4 of Swords, and this card is all about rest and reflection. Focusing on your life. Focusing on what's best for you. And then the second card was the Six of Cups, which is the symbology is a little boy and a little girl, and he's giving her flowers. And this was telling us last time we did this collective consciousness, focus on you, put time into you, be selfish in a way. It's time to not give energy to everything else out there that's around you. Live and let live. Focus on you. Go within. Meditate on your life. See what's best for you. Don't worry about the outside world. It's all theater anyway. And then being childlike in your expressions. You think children, the majority of them now, young little kids, you think they're worried about whether or not someone's going to make the decision to go do that? They don't care. They're too busy out there having fun. They want to go outside and play. They want to go build sandcastles at the beach. They want to go run around and fly, kites. They want to go in the water and go swimming. They want to go to Jeremy's house and play with the neighbor. They want to go build this. They want to play with the Legos. These two cards were clearly telling all of us collectively to stop worrying about your outside world, what's going on out there. It's all commentary. And to focus on you. This is about you. And that was last time's message, the last transmission we did. That was the message that all of us collectively, through me being the catalyst, those are the two cards that popped out. And it was very fitting. Because I was saying so much that I see so many people just having to talk about that whole construct. And in essence, they're keeping it alive. Did you hear about this? Oh my God, this person said this and this person's going to do it. I can't believe they're going to do that. It's like, man, you're a part of it. And you're not even going to do it and you're a part of it. So again, my refreshing of everybody's memory, if you were here last time, and if you weren't the last time we did a collective consciousness poll, it was all about, what we should be doing in the world. It's being selfish, and not in the sense of like me. I'm talking about putting time into you and forgetting about the outside world, detaching from the outside world. Who cares what they're going to do? Who cares what Jack's going to do? Who cares what Diane's going to do? You don't have to wake up in their bed. You don't have to partake in their life. Now, I can see if it's somebody in your life that's close to you, but nonetheless. All right, we have a phone call coming in. Let's do this. 402, go ahead.
Hi, Logan. It's Trish. I've never called before, but
Hi, Trish.
I finally got through. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Where's 402?
I am right on the border of Crescent, Iowa, and Omaha, Nebraska.
Wow, the Midwest, huh? I love
it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate your support and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have a question by any chance?
I do
Okay.
have a question.
Yeah.
So I listen to you and Santos quite often.
Awesome.
And so I've done quite a bit of my decoding, but not all of it. Obviously, as you know, it's a deep rabbit hole. So
Never ending.
when I started waking up is kind of what I call it. 3 years ago, it was due to trauma after trauma coming from every side of me.
Okay.
And kind of like the I guess I would say the Kundalini awakening. I had a dark side of the soul. But anyways, figuring out, I started decoding and I didn't even realize I was decoding.
Uh-huh.
I was just researching. I wanted to know more. And why. So I'll try to keep it short, but yet fill in
Sure.
as much as I can. So with as many traumas as I was going through, I had contemplated suicide, and I have 3 boys. It's not that I wanted to do it. I just needed more tools, and I didn't know, which way to go. So I reached my hand out to God in a very deep, energetic way to show me what in the fuck is going on this planet and why I'm going through what I'm going through. And at this time, I felt energy go through my body. And it's been whatever everything has been leading me. and has led me to you, obviously. So I have a twin flame. I've decoded it. He's almost 19 years older than I am. I turned 46 this year. He's 64.
Interesting combination there. The mirror of one another.
Oh, is it ever so interesting, but yet not.
Yeah.
So I've had to face every single shadow I could ever imagine in my whole life.
Okay.
In this relationship. He's the dark, I'm the light. He's and I don't mean this condescending in any way, but he's an alcoholic.
Okay.
And I used to be an addict of a few different things. I've been clean and sober for quite some time now, and to me now this is my addiction, I guess, is to continue to decode, continue to clear my cells, continue. Is it called the Merkaba? I'm getting off the Willis and Zara. Yeah. Like yeah, like this is my goal this lifetime because I'm not doing this again.
Yep.
So I guess my question is more of kind of, what would you suggest in this situation? I love this man with the depth of my soul, but I know that he's not going to change. And so I'm fine, if we don't. I'm fine if I need to rise above and leave him behind, but yet it still hurts my soul because I know this is our chance this lifetime. But he's not going to open up and change.
Yeah. Well, okay. So your question is like, what do you do, right? Like, are you kind of asking for guidance? Okay. Well,
guidance in a sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing some of your personal life. And I know all the listeners. And if you're out there listening and you kind of resonate with this message, what was your name again? I'm sorry.
Trish.
Okay.
It's Patrice, but Trish.
Okay. If you resonate with Trish's message, here's what I have for that. I met an amazing man up in about an hour north of Los Angeles in a town called Ojai, California. He's a Cherokee shaman, and he's become a friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a while, but his name's Patrick McBride. And he's the real deal. And when I went to see him with my friend, we've gone several times to him. He ended up telling both of us that he was married. He's like, I'm not married to my twin flame, but I know who my twin flame is. You
speak on that before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is, kind of what I'm feeling for you. And that is, look, you only have one, as far as we know, okay? No one knows what happens beyond this, okay? It all comes down to an opinion. Even with my statements of, I feel we come back and have to, reincarnate back into another life. We just play another avatar. But even if I'm wrong and you don't have to come back, right? You look at your life, and all I know is that at this stage of the game, for me personally, I will not be around people that lower my frequency. It's just not going to happen. And if I'm around people that have a lower frequency than me, that's all fine. I don't go down to that frequency. I just observe their frequency. Okay? Because I am my own person.
I know exactly what you're speaking of. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, you may have this person who is your twin flame, but that doesn't mean that you are in this round designed to be with that person. Okay?
And I think it's taken me we've been I don't know if you call it together, but it's been 4 years, and it's taken me this long to actually get to a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm okay if I'm not with him.
Okay.
Like, even though I would give anything in the world for him to put down that bottle of alcohol and clear his cells and come, like, just come on, because you just. I'm an 8-life path. I feel still, even though I'm not a 9-line path, I'm a humanitarian in a way.
I'm an 8-life path too.
I want him so much, to do it. I totally get it. And how you say, just to kind of observe. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I do that at this point, where 3 years ago I was a crazy wreck about it all, but now it's just.
Well, I'll be happy you got through that stage. You know?
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm
yes,
saying? I mean, they're all
exactly.
stages, yeah. But, you know, you have one shot at it. So if we just treat this as this, we don't know what happens after this incarnation right now. All of us that have incarnated during this Piscean age, we all do not know what happens after we die. No one can prove anything. It's all theoretical. I mean, there are tons of people that come to me and like, oh, I'm from the starseed this. And I was like, okay, how do you prove that? You can't.
Yeah.
So it's a theory, right? And that's great. I'm not here to poo-poo on your beliefs, but for me, I'm empirical, and I'm more of the doubting Thomas. I'm more about what I can prove. And then I go into the layers of, okay, even if we can't prove what happens after this lifetime, so it's a matter of discovering your code during this lifetime and then rising to the highest frequency you possibly can. And if those people that are along for the ride or part of your ride are not at the same level of your frequency, you're going to have to come down to their frequency, and that's going to lessen your experience.
Can't handle that anymore.
Sure.
Like I've stayed very in solitude because of that. I feel alienated at times, and you know how it is, obviously.
So you already have your answer. You know, I mean, you just needed confirmation, and I'm giving you the confirmation. See, the answer usually is in the question. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. But, you know, you already answered your own question. You just needed the confirmation.
Right. And so I had a couple more things, if I may, just very quickly. So I was wondering if you could kind of chat with Santos and see that maybe because, you know, he talks about the light and the oil and all these things, you know, that are so deep and so wonderful. And then I've never been religious. I don't know the Bible that well. And so then I was listening to a ministry that was also talking about the lamp, and if you don't have the oil, and in some of the verses, could he or you guys kind of put those things together maybe sometime when you're speaking about them, like what verses they come from?
I mean, the passages in the Bible about the lamp and the oil and all that?
Kind of like when he's explaining those things, like when the sun goes through, or when the moon goes through your sun sign, and the seed starts, and those things, and it's just, you know how it is, it's code. So when I start learning these things, I kind of start I call it vibing.
Right.
Like you start getting it, and you're like, oh yes, now this makes so much more sense.
Yep.
So yeah, and then the other thing was, if we could just pull a card. I started a new job. This is my first year cycle out of a 9 years. You know how we go through 9-year cycles. So it's all the bad kind of got taken out of my life, except obviously the twin flame, because I left that door open. And I've never done insurance before in my life, so I'm starting that with a pretty good vibing group of people. So I was just wondering if... let's start with we
can do a card, but let's start with your birthday. What's just your month and day?
6/7.
6/7, June 7th. So you're the 10 diamonds card. And the 10 diamonds card is I was just talking about this. I mean, it's the fortunate blessings card. And so I'm
hoping that the rest of my life, and now that I'm awakened, that this is going to be the blessings.
Right, but I mean, again, the point is that, see, you're exactly where you need to be. Everybody listening to this, you're exactly where you need to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. Okay. And there's no date circled in the calendar when you have these layers of reality. For you have the 10 diamonds, which is the fortunate blessings. And I said this earlier in the broadcast, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to have fortunate blessings in your life with finances. It could mean something else, but diamonds typically leads to money. Okay. And so I will encourage you and everyone else out there resonating to this message, is you say you started a new job and all stuff. That's great. But, you know, when you start to decode yourself and then you really pose the question, am I really, truly in the right position for being the happiest I can be? And that will give you your answer if you're really can fast track it. Is there a way to fast track our lives? Maybe. To where you can kind of like, like if I ask people, like if you could fast track to make $1 million in 5 years versus 10, would you want to fast track it? I mean, anybody that's got half a brain would say, of course I would want to do that, right? I think fast tracking our lives, even though life's a contradiction, right? Because it's all scripted. But I think when we get these messages, fast tracking our lives to get to the place of hedonism best is to decode yourself and to give you the confirmation and code of your blueprint of exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing. And so this new position, which is great. I mean, there are many different cycles in life, and you're 46. So 4 plus 6 is 10, and 10 reduces down to the 1. So there is a layer of you being in a 1 cycle right now, which is planting your seeds and being a fire starter and starting things over from scratch. So it really kind of points in that direction that I see for you. Okay. But really,
Wonderful.
if money was no object, you go back to that.
If
Alan
money
Watts.
was no object, yes, if money was no object, through these last 3 years of waking up, I become a Reiki energy healer. I kind of did it on my own, self-study.
Nice.
and then studying online. I know that I have the healing capabilities, getting into astrology, and my huge goal is to grow energy food with Reiki energy healing and to do astrology to help people in that, and to share my story. I know I'm supposed to be sharing my story because
Okay.
I just grew up in trauma, all these traumas, and then coming to the light. But for some reason, I've lacked that get-go to make money doing it. So this was my way of, okay, if I can do this and get out here and sell life insurance to make this money, then maybe that will then turn into what it is I really want to do and can afford to do it.
Yeah, I get it. It's, it can be tricky. I'm a huge Alan Watts fan and all his philosophy, and he has that video,
ditto.
What If Money Was No Object, but he has a great quote, and he said, it's better to live a short life doing something that you love doing than having a long life of something you don't like, and suffering. So
Absolutely.
yeah. And so, really you should pose the question on yourself and sit with it, maybe in the bathtub or on a long walk or a meditation. I mean, does this really feel good to you, this strategy? And or should you just go for it and put maybe put another hour or two of energy into this Reiki idea that you want to do, and surround yourself with some groups online. Maybe you want to create a vision board and start taking some time into that.
And that I am doing. That's funny. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's funny you say that, because just yesterday I wrote myself I drew a check and wrote the amount. I'm like, okay, this is how much I'm going to make because this is what I'm going to do. And then, just
Awesome.
with the garden and everything. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
It seems like I really catch this, that I'm usually the things I do is a step ahead, and then the information comes. And I'm like, gosh, see, I know that I have these capabilities that are really there, and I just got to just let it go. You know how you used to say something about superpowers?
Yep.
I'm like, I know I have them.
Yep.
But they're just getting them out there.
Yeah.
Pulling them out of me without any doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of confirmation. That's why, like, when I do readings for people, my typical reading is about 3 to 4 hours, and we go through a lot of information, but a lot of it is just you need the confirmation to give yourself permission to own that space of who you are. Because a lot of us were told we're not that.
I promise you, when I have enough money, I will be getting one.
Awesome. All right, cool. So do you have a specific question, or Trish?
Well, my question was
for your card. I mean,
yeah, for the card. My question for the card was just to see if I'm on the right track with this, which I already know I am.
Yeah,
so I'm asking a question I already know the answer to.
Yeah,
I guess just pull a card.
Well, it's good to hear that you already have the answer to your question, but let's see what you get. Well, you got the you got the 9th card in the deck, the Hermit card, which we already talked about this card earlier tonight, and this is tied to Jupiter and Sagittarius. And the Hermit card is obviously the most wisest card out of the deck because it's card number 9. So perhaps this is indicating for you that you need to really go deep within and really look at everything in your life and analyze it and figure out and shine light on everything that's going on in your life, and then kind of weigh out all the possibilities and consequences of those possibilities, and then really sit with that. And, for me, I guess what I'm downloading for you is just really hone in on, finish that vision board. make copies of it, put it all over your house, get really in tune with those photographs. And then, you've already done the check, and that's all really, really good. There's another big download that I'm getting for you, and there's a workshop on YouTube for free by a gentleman named Bob Proctor. He's one of my mentors. I studied underneath him for many, many years, and the free workshop he has online is called Born Rich. And for those of you that resonate with this message, if you need help with changing the way you perceive reality with the law of attraction and being able to bring things into your reality at a much quicker pace, that means you need to get rid of some of your old habits and beliefs in your mind. And the way to fast track that, okay, if you want to learn a language, you can plop yourself in that foreign language. But if you want to fast track it, you take language lessons, right? So in this case, if you want to fast track getting rid of old programmed habitual mind patterns and mindsets, you want to be able to engross yourself in some kind of system that will give you the tools to do this at a much faster pace, because, the clock's ticking. Right? And if we can fast track it, then that's the best route. And we want to do everything we can. So you want to go to YouTube and you want to type in Bob Proctor, Born Rich. And there is going to be the remastered versions of it. I think there's like 14 videos. It's going to be about 10 hours of a seminar done in the 1980s. It's a little outdated with the clothing that they're wearing, but the information is limitless and priceless. And I actually even have the original workbook that you can print out and you can follow along with as you go through this Born Rich series. So if you want it, just send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail. Any of you listening that want this and you want to have the workbook, I can email it to you. It's in a PDF. You can go print it out. It's about 50 pages and you'll be able to follow along. And if you're willing to undertake this Born Rich series and you're willing to do it every single day, because you eat every day, go to the bathroom every day, brush your teeth every day, you will fast track what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And this message was for you and anybody else out there resonates with this message.
Is that Proctor?
It is. Bob Proctor, Born Rich.
Perfect.
Yep. And the first part of it is kind of boring, a little bit the intro, but I can assure you get into a couple hours of it and it's very addicting to watch, because it's like, man, why wasn't I thinking like this my entire life?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't watch TV or anything, so that'll be perfect. That I just
Awesome.
listen to those types of things throughout the whole day. And then I had one other thing. So through this process of waking up, one thing I came across is the galactic calendar. Have you ever seen that? The higher frequency of time?
The galactic, is that tied to the Mayans? Or
Yes.
is that tied to the Pleiadians?
The Mayans.
The Mayans. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. I was just curious because that's kind of interesting. I've had it for the last couple of years now, and it's helped me out because it just felt like it's just another piece of the code. So
yeah, they're all pieces of the code. It's like and remember, everything's part of the script. So it may be a little bit watered down. If you look at a tree, the very heart of the tree is the tree trunk, and then you go out and the branches and the leaves, and the higher you get, the farther away you get from the source. And that's how our reality is. Whisper down the lane. Story gets told 100 times, and by the time it makes its way back to the source, it's not even the same story. There's still truth in there, but there's a lot of bolt-ons that are not even part of the story to begin with. And that's how religions worked. That's how philosophy has worked. That's how ethics has worked. That's how just opinions and ideas have worked. Are you still with us, Trish?
I am.
Okay,
so
cool.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, Logan.
You're
And I
welcome.
have to say I love you. I love your show.
Much
I
love
love
to you.
Santos. And just the higher consciousness and the higher vibration. I look forward to it, especially since, you go outside of your house and you really don't see it. You're very lucky to find it. So
You just got
I
to
look
start looking
forward to
for it,
these type of things.
I mean, if you were to pick, there's
I prayed for it. I looked for it. So
yeah, if you just start looking for, I can't remember the name of the book now. It's slipping my mind, but the author's name was Pam something, and I can't remember the name of the book. But in her book, she was talking about for a week or two, just start focusing on looking for one specific car, like a Volkswagen Jetta, and you'll start to see them, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You'll start to
I
see
love playing those types of games as well. Like, so for a while, and here's a kind of a little brief story. So for a while, it was plate numbers, right? I would pay attention to plates, and 3 numbers would come. So it was like 00, you know what I'm saying. So this. So my twin flame, I would send him things. I'm like, do you ever see plates that have the same 3 numbers? You have to see it. And obviously, lower vibration, don't pay attention. So one day I seen one that had his last name, which is Stark. And I'm like, see, I'm telling you, this works. And so I sent it to him. And then my son seen one that had my first name. And I'm like, oh, it's so true.
Yeah. No, it's totally, it's like a phenomenon, but it definitely works. And again, I feel like, when you're a catalyst like myself tonight, and I'm out looking through all these questions and you're calling in, these are pieces of your code, and you're either going to take it and run with it or not. And this may involve some of the free will, because like you're giving chances, and then you don't maybe entertain those. And so then it alters your course, and then you go into a different fractal. And that may be a possibility. And again, I don't know. I'm just kind of theorizing here. So, but anyway, Trish, thank you so much for your support and your kind words and your love and all that kind of stuff. All the best to you out there in the Midwest. And we'll see you next time on the show, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Right, you're welcome. All right, good night. All right, so we have the Midwest calling in. I love it. This is the great part about this whole process is being able to connect with people all around the world, and I have friends everywhere now, which is awesome. I love it. I'm looking for some people in Japan. I've been really called to Japan for some reason, and I was like, okay, where am I going to go after this Mexico, trip that I'm on? And I've always, for some reason, just gravitated to Japan. And those of you that have watched my Random Thoughts number 6 on the blood types, it leads all back to Japan. And Nihon is the name of Japan and their flag and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really just, I don't know, Japan's on my radar to go stay there and live there for, I don't know, a little bit. But I get around. I mean, I've lived in so many places. It's part of my chart, folks. That's, if you're like me, I have Sagittarius in my first freaking house, which is my ego, and that's all about moving around. And then my Rahu is in my 9th house, which is all about traveling to foreign lands. So it's like when you look at the codes and you realize it has nothing to do with the devil. Okay, in that sense. It just has everything to do with the code. You just got to know what your code is and how you're set up to be. Some of you want to travel, and you could. You just have suppressed it. But if you were to observe your chart and be like, well, shit, I just got to own that space. Okay, that's totally me, but I've been suppressing it because I was told I couldn't do that, or whatever. Or you just look at your current life and maybe you don't have the funds to travel, but if you really just stop focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you could have, you'll end up manifesting that because you own that space of your code, of your blueprint. And as I was talking about the car that parks itself, you never knew that the car parked itself, and then you drove it for 3 years, and then you found out and you traded in. It's like, what? This whole time, and I parallel park every day. What a bummer. Some of you have pieces of your code and you don't even know they're there. And you'll end up maybe going into the grave as part of your code because it's a contradiction, but you'll end up wasting a piece of your code because you didn't study yourself. So, anyways, Ducky Momo, my husband and son are 9 life paths. Is it normal to have that many of the same life paths in one family? Sure. It's not abnormal to have multiple people having the same life paths in the same family. That should tell you your incarnation. And part of your code, why are you surrounded with these life paths? And you coming together with those 9 life paths, since it's blood and it's a dominant piece of your code, how do you come together and coordinate and become one and create something out of that space? Maybe you needed to be around 2 life paths that are of the number 9. Everything happens for a reason. If you believe in that, folks, you are starting to side with the understanding or understanding that all the code is supposed to be exactly where it is, and it's all done because it's part of the script. Speak your mind. When are you going to Santos's? I'm already here. I'm in the town of Puerto Morales. I actually live 5 minutes from Santos. And that's walking. I live on the same street as Santos. I live north of Santos, but we live on the same, well, not on the same street. I take that back. I live just off one street of his street, but I'm 5 minutes from Santos's. So. Yep, Kevin, what's up, brother? 147 letters left, 7041 Lucifer, bringer of the light. Yeah, it's all tied to the sun. That's why I feel that Lucifer, the light bringer, is the sun. That's my take on it. You know, folks, if we're told that if there was any kind of trickery going on, and that's all part of the code anyway, but if you were to be able to pull the biggest con in the history of mankind, how would you do it when it comes to information and propaganda in that sense? How would you get away with it? You would present a story. This is my rendition of it. You would present a story that is ironclad. There's no holes in it. It is just no one would ever think to look there. And what would that story be in the forms of religion and all that kind of stuff? Well, you would flip it in that story of the good guy and bad guy. It would be flipped. And you cannot rule that out. You cannot rule it out. Libra rising. Rebecca. So I'm assuming you're referring to the Western astrology, you Libra risings. You could be a Pisces rise. You could be a Scorpio rising in the Vedic system. Or you could be a Virgo rising, depending on where it sits in your chart. North Node, Chiron, and Gemini 9th. Okay, awesome. I love it how some of you are on it, man. Kudos to you that know. When you get really good at astrology, folks, you'll know. Like I was mentioning earlier tonight, before I get interrupted on the first transmission, I was saying, because I decoded the Jacob's Ladder. If you haven't seen my decode on that, please check it out. But it seems that all of us were born in the Piscean age, which may still be going on right now. But even if we eliminate that and we're in the Aquarian age, whatever, right? But it seems that the majority of us were born, if not all of us, were born in the Piscean age. And it would be very beneficial for you to look at your natal chart in astrology and to figure out where your house of Pisces is at. Because it may not be in house number 12 in its default position. And then you would look to see if you have any planets there and read from those layers. It'd be a really good idea to do that. That's my opinion, by the way. Make the truth your own and own the truth you are. Absolutely, Denise. Nice. Kevin, you're so coded, dude. That's your claim to fame, bro. You're a supercomputer in itself. That's your claim to fame. And folks, if you don't know who Kevin Clark is, he's in the chat room, and he's a very special friend of mine, even though we've never met. And we're born in the same month, in the same zodiac sign. And I told him, and this is not like I can't share this with people, but Kevin is a special individual who has extreme talents in the world of decoding, and he's a whiz at it, and I can't even keep up with him. And I'm pretty good, right, at the numbers. And I told Kevin, and that his code is, he is the magic carpet, and he's the guy to give rides for people. And Kevin, you just got to own that space, dude. And it's not a lonely world when you own that space, because you're giving rides to everybody, and that's what you're constantly doing. And you should be patting yourself on the back and knowing that's your special code, bro, because you're a special individual and you are the red carpet itself. That's just how I see you. And I'm not blowing smoke. That's just how I see you. Don't forget about the Chiron placement. So Rebecca, Pisces is at my 5th house. Okay. Well, that runs your manifestations. Now, again, it may not have any meaning if you have Pisces in a specific house. I mean, you're going to have your opposite house, Rebecca, which is Virgo on the opposite end, which your Virgo is going to be probably at your 11th house, which is owned and operated by Aquarius by default, which is owned and operated by Uranus, aka Saturn in the old ancient system. You got to read from both. So when you have a planet at 0 degrees, it's like a baby planet, a fresh, shiny new toy. Be coming into this world, be like, "Ooh, I'm in Capricorn. This is a nice change." When you're at the low degrees, 0 degrees, 1 degrees, 2 degrees, these are planets that have just entered into these signs, and they are like a brand new baby, a fresh, brand new Neptune in your Capricorn. And it's like, oh, this is a pretty interesting place. And you're just eager to start your life. And so it doesn't have a lot of experience in that sign. And then when you get to the higher degrees, those of you that have planets at, 25, 26, 27, they've been there a long time. They're like, oh, we got to do this again. Like been there, done that. So your toleration level may be a little bit low in some of these areas, but you're also very mature and wise in those areas. You've been around the block in these signs when they're at the higher degrees. It's really interesting when you can kind of look at all these planets in your astrology chart, and I look at them as your team players, and you're the coach of the team. And you got to know what your team's all about. And of course, figuring out the houses they're in and what zodiac sign they're in and what degrees they're at. There are really many layers. If they're involved in a trine or a sextile, these are more advanced layers. But the 3 basic layers of each position of each planet is what house the planet is in, what zodiac sign it's in, and at what degrees it is in. Those are the 3 major layers that you can observe each planet. And those planets are your team, and you're the coach of the team. And remember, the natal chart is just your eyeball. That's why it's round, and the natal chart's round, and you have a pupil in the middle of your eye, which is your black sun or your black suns, and the natal chart has the little, round circle in the middle, the black sun. That's why we have black suns in our eyes. Nice, Kev. Oh, your brother got married, huh? Okay, cool. Congrats to your brother. Cute bacterium. When do I finish the crypto decode? It's been on the shelf for a little bit. I haven't thought about it, but thanks for reminding me. What are you feeling stuck about? Can you answer that question? What are you feeling stuck about? 12th house cusp is Virgo. I'm not into the terminology of these 12th house. Is your Virgo in your 12th house or is it not? These terminologies of cusp. Cusp means it could be on either one. Or is it like right near that? You have Virgo in the 12th house at what degrees? That's what you should know. Not a matter of this cusp stuff. You should know what house your planet is at, what zodiac sign it's at, and at what degrees it's at. Those are the basic fundamentals. Try to get used to expressing that to people. Like I have Virgo in the 12th house of Aries, and it's at 15 degrees. Those are the terminologies that are the most important, in my opinion. Chiron, 12th house, Aquarius. Okay, so the Chiron is all about just the 12th house. So Denise, you want to go type in Chiron, 12th house, Jessica Davidson, and you'll find it. Chiron, 12th house. Any of you that have a Chiron, just type in Chiron, whatever house it's in. Chiron, 5th house, Jessica Davidson. Davidson, Jessica Davidson. She's really good, very right to the point. Tell you where your wound's at. You got to get over these wounds. You got to fill the holes in. Awesome. Some of you, Pluto 29 degrees. Yeah. Well, that's an old Pluto, like a tired, I got to do this life again in the first house of Libra. So you got to go read about what, Pluto typically brings a lot of ups and downs, a lot of drive. But when it's at 29 degrees, it's an old soul sitting in that house of Libra in the first house, and you got to go look what's in the opposite house in the 7th house. That's going to play its role as well. Sun, 11th house, Aquarius. Awesome. The 11th house is interesting because it's the Justice card. And that's the Aquarian age. So, look, I don't know, some people say we have a long way to go before we enter the age of Aquarius, but no one knows. It's all theoretical. You can't prove any of these theories. They're all theoretical. Some people want to use the math, but then some of the signs are not as big as the other ones. Their time stamps are shorter, longer. So it's just really a big question mark wrapped around what age we're in. And we may have some time left in this Piscean age. And to me, this is a dark age. But this is the 11th card tied to the house of Aquarius. So those of you that have any planets in the 11th house, this is the default card for Aquarius, which is the Justice card. So as we move into the age of Aquarius, or maybe we've already moved into the age of Aquarius, this is what rules that house, the Justice card, of course. And in the Chinese zodiac, it's the dog card, man's best friend. Justice, man's best friend, right? We all want justice. We're programmed, at least those of us that are human, we are programmed to want justice. You're going to get your karma, you're going to get your justice, because that's the way this code works. Everything has to be homeostasis, which is balance, and if it gets out of balance, the pendulum shifts out of balance, it will end up recirculating and going back and end up, you bet your bottom dollar, it's going to have justice. And maybe, just maybe, we move into this age of Aquarius and it's justice. And it's the dog. The opposite is the dragon. So it's really interesting. Hannah, YXRP. I went over this. Let me see if I can find it. And let me just, hold on, folks. Let me see if I can find this for you. Let me see if I can show you, since you're asking, because this is important with the crypto. The reason why I'm a XRP fan is because I have friends that are very smart, intelligent, PhDs in political science and economics and stuff like that. And, obviously I fall on their shoulders, but, make no mistake about it. It's better to, some people just do not want crypto. They just are so against it. They feel like it's death, crypto, going in the crypt and all that kind of stuff. And what if they're wrong? What if you're wrong? If you're right, then great. Then we'll just escape this reality or whatever it looks like to you, because I'm assuming if you think crypto means death and the devil and all that kind of stuff, that means that something's going to happen where the people that are doing good for the world will transcend out of that anyway, and we're going to follow in the footsteps of that narrative, right? But what if you're wrong and you have no crypto? You're screwed when they crash the economy, because we all know that's what's going to happen. That doesn't take somebody with a degree in economics to see it coming. Okay, it's patterns, and the economy crashes, it rises, it crashes, it rises. These are patterns that always happen throughout the history of mankind, and that's no secret. So there are people that are just so against it, and I'm like, I don't know why. You know, you could see, I mean, are you still writing letters and licking a stamp and mailing those in your mailbox to people? Are you still spinning your records? Are you still playing your CDs or cassettes or your 8-tracks? Do you still have a rotary phone on your wall? Are you still using a hard map, or you use your cell? I bet every one of you use your navigation in your cell phone. You don't pull out a Road McNally hardcover map out of your glove box to find out where you're going. And if you do, you're going to be one of those exceptions. And there are going to be some people that are out there that will be that exception. So I'm not saying that not everybody, I'm not going to use an absolute, but the majority of you out there use your technology to do your bidding, and you're moving towards that. And if you didn't have it, you'd be lost without it, and you would be very irritated if you didn't have some of the things that you have. I could never go back to using a rotary phone and having to do emergency breakthroughs because the phone's busy and calling the operator. I wouldn't want to go back to that life. Forget that. I like my technology. We can integrate with technology and still be human. All right. So I want to show all of you. I think this is, no, that's not it. See if I can find, I actually have like 20 slides on crypto. I'm just trying to find. Okay, I'll just use this one. That's fine. So, folks, here's a slide from my upcoming Decode on cryptocurrency. And this is why, now listen, I trust in my code, as in you should be trusting in your code. And when I first heard about cryptocurrency, which was, I don't know, maybe back in, when I first started looking at it, I think it was around the year 2000, and it was really when I was in Vegas. So it was like maybe 2017, maybe, I think, when I moved to Vegas, Las Vegas. And I remember my friend was trying to get me involved in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was around 6,000 or 7,000 per coin. And at the time, I didn't have any money to get involved in it. But I started looking at crypto, and I was looking through all the coins available at the time, and this Ripple, it was Ripple. It wasn't even XRP, it was Ripple. Ripple Labs was the one that I gravitated towards. I don't know why. I just did, and I remember it was 10 cents a coin at the time. And you fast forward to now, at this current moment, and, you know, I created these slides probably like a couple months ago. And this is one of the slides in my upcoming cryptocurrency decode. And this is why I feel XRP will be one of the standard connecting points. This XRP is a bridge. It's not actually a coin itself or Ripple, but this will be the glue that binds other transactions. Like if you're going to be buying something from somebody in China, let's say, or they're going to be buying something from you, well, they're going to have their own coin. And how do you bridge that gap? How do you trade the currencies between different coins? And it will be through, from my understanding, it will be through this XRP/Ripple. And you'll notice that XRP, the symbol of that, is almost an identical match of the alchemical symbol of tin, the 50th element on the periodic table. Now, if you're new to this, you'll be like, what does an element have to do with it? Well, they have everything to do with our reality because they are bridges and they are a part of the numbering patterns of this matrix reality. And I found enough evidence to this have a lot of merit, a ton. And I've included it in so many of my decodes. And so you can clearly see, you know, the words on a dollar bill, "In God We Trust," is 50, which is a direct match to the word tin. And tin is known to me, I've kind of coined it the merger of worlds, because tin's alchemical symbol, which is an almost identical match to XRP symbol, is really, you can fit in a Vesica Piscis there, and it merges two worlds, two circles. This fits into the flower of life. I decoded the flower of life in Taurus fields. It's in my decode. The tin symbol. And tin, of course, has many multiple weights or isotopes. 118, it's its most abundant, but it also has the 119, which is the mirror of the 911. And 50 is tied to the alligator card, and the alligator is the less than, greater than symbols in math, which is tied to this alchemical symbol of tin. And so this is a big piece of why I esoterically kind of side with the XRP world. And I feel that it's going to go up in its price. I mean, it's definitely taken a huge hit like most of the cryptocurrencies have. They've come down in price, but of course everything's just leveraging itself out. But make no mistake about it, I feel that if we are moving into this crypto world, we all will have to use it as currency. And it's just going to take the place of fiat physical currency. I mean, they've already programmed the minds of all of us with digital currency. I mean, most of us watching this broadcast are using plastic to do your transactions. Most of us don't use cash to pay for any kind of items or transactions that you do. So we've already been programmed to swipe your card or put the card in with the chip, and you've already been using digital currency. It's just officially named cryptocurrency. And I believe the crypto means we're going inward, and I believe that we are going back to the source, which is why it's very fitting in the whole crypto and cryptocurrency world. So that's my long answer on the XRP and why I feel esoterically it will be a huge, and there will be, from everything I've gathered and all the people I follow, you have XRP, you can literally be a wealthy person overnight when this thing skyrockets. If it does what they say, the experts that follow it, what they think it's going to do, we're talking going up and causing an astronomical spike in its expressions. And we're talking about, just having a couple thousand coins, you'd be in the 5-digit realm when it explodes. And you're having a ton of options at that point. So we shall see. And if we are moving into the age of Aquarius, it's all about justice. The last thing that this new age would have would be something from the devil or from death. Okay, it would be something of helping humanity. And from what I've gathered with crypto itself, is it will make a lot of people wealthy quickly, and it may end up getting rid of all debt, forgiving all debts and loans. Again, these are all hypothetical. I'm not saying it's true. These are all theories of people that are in the game, saying that all mortgages, auto loans, student loans, they'll all be forgiven. They'll all be gone and washed away. And can you imagine those of you that are in debt right now having that debt completely wiped out and erased? I mean, the show on Netflix called Mr. Robot completely portrayed that happening when they crashed the economy. Now, I'm not saying every television show and movie coming out is absolutely accurate, but are these the inkling breadcrumbs that are left behind for us to decipher through this code that's being expressed? So that's what I got. Bitcoin, I had Bitcoin, and my group that I follow believe that Bitcoin is fool's gold, and it will completely take a tumble, and it will be not really worth that much at all. And the challenge with Bitcoin is that it may cost more to do a transaction than what the actual item you buy will be worth. Like if you go buy a tuna sandwich at the airport for $9, the transaction fee to use the Bitcoin may be $10 or $12, or $10 or $12 in crypto to actually purchase the sandwich, which is more than the transaction. Than the sandwich itself. And that can cause some major problems. And that's why I had Bitcoin. I got rid of all of it. And maybe I'm completely wrong, because I know some people that I've even given readings to people that are huge fans of Bitcoin. And, you got to make the truth your own, folks. Okay? And, also remember that Rosie Rose she used to work for the federal, not the IRS, but she worked for the, not the federal monetary. I can't remember who, but it was a federal position. And she moved onto the board of Ripple in San Francisco and took a job there. Federal Reserve, I think it was. She was a head honcho at the Federal Reserve, and supposedly the news, which she left that position and she went to become part of Ripple in San Francisco. It was a big headline for the XRP Ripple World Reserve. Yeah, it was Reserve. Ethereum, same thing. I'm not a fan of these coins. A lot of these coins, and many people feel this way, they will just not make it. They will be completely bunk. And it's a big gamble no matter what, folks. Maybe it is all going to be part of the mark of the beast, and it will just completely shatter, and we'll move into some age where it will be obsolete. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that preparation is important, because the last thing that each and every one of you want to do is get caught with your pants down and not have any crypto. I mean, if you have all your money in dollars, that's the worst position to be in, because if they tank the dollar and you go to the ATM and there's no more cash left, or the cash you have in the bank is 1/10 of what it was worth, you're going to be really pissed at that. And I don't even think that's even a question of if it will happen. I just think now it's a matter of when it will happen, because it must, in order to forgive the debt or wipe the debt clean, the countless U.S. debt that continues to climb and climb and climb. And the handwriting's on the wall when you follow the breadcrumbs, folks. Why do you think they've been printing money for so long, devaluing the dollar, and then handing out all these stimulus checks, which they continue to do, continually to devalue the dollar, folks? It's all lining up to crash the U.S. dollar. And if you can't see that, well, you may want to re-look at what I'm saying to you, because the handwriting's on the wall. And that's why everything, the stimulus checks, it's all part of this process. The whole idea of the C-19 coming out, all part of the devaluing of the currencies, all part of it. China has already gotten their coin. They came out April 17th, I think it was, or May 17th. I don't remember the date, but there are countries that are going to be following suit, and you just better to be safe. Yeah, there you go, Kyle. Thank you for the correction. Rosie Rios, former Treasurer of the U.S. Thank you for the correction, Kyle. I appreciate that. Sorry about the delay. I was just looking at a message. All right. So now let's get into let's finish this transmission. It's 2:45 in the morning here, and I'm a little bit getting tired, I guess. So let's get into the collective consciousness. Reading. What's your prediction for Bitcoin price for 2022? No idea. I just don't think it's going to be anywhere near what it's at now. I think it's going to tank. That's just my opinion, though. I don't have a PhD in economics. I'm not a guru or a legend in the crypto. I'm not that kind of guy. I just simply ride the coattails of people that do have a lot of knowledge, and I just kind of regurgitate what they tell me based upon the things that I kind of cherry pick. And then I go on what I just showed you with that slide and the esoteric symbolism. And then I see some patterns in the numbers. And that's what I go off of. That's where I find my truth, is finding the patterns in the in the numbers. Kevin, you're funny, dude. Okay, so we got a decent amount of people on here. Let's do the collective consciousness. I'm going to end this transmission, but let's do this collective consciousness card pull. And let me get to the question, because being as tired as I am, I forgot I want to get the exact question as what I had posted. But I think it was, what is the energy going to look like for the month of July 2021 coming up? It's right around the corner, the month of July. And what is it going to look like for all of us moving into the sign of Leo, Cancer and Leo? We'll finish up Cancer, we'll move into Leo. So the question is, what will be the dominant energy around the world in the month of July 2021? What will be the dominant energy around the world in the month of July 2021? That is the question for this collective consciousness tarot card pull. And I'm shuffling the cards right now, folks. And I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what you feel, what you see through your eyes, through your senses. What will the energy look like next month, July 2021, for the entire world? The dominant energy, not a personal energy, but the dominant energy. We're all going to collectively come together. And we're going to think about this for 30 seconds to 1 minute. I'm going to jack the music up. I want you just to kind of, whatever you got to do, close your eyes, focus on this question. What will be the dominant energy for the month of July in 2021? For the entire world, around the world, your world, my world, the whole lot of it. So let's jack up this music. And we'll be right back in about 30 seconds to 1 minute. So let's all focus on that question. Here we go. All right. One of my favorite tunes currently right now. It's called Post Rock. And the actual title of this is it's called Symbiosis is the name of the band, and the title of the album is Across the Moment. And these guys are awesome. I love these guys. It's all instrumental. So when you're thinking, you don't get interrupted by anything. You can just kind of get into your meditative state or creative state. Okay. So we've all collectively come together here tonight to partake in the question of what will the dominant energy be in the month of July 2021. And let's see. Let's see what the cards say. So we're going to pick from the middle of the deck. I've already shuffled them. So that's the card. And this is the last card in the tarot deck. Can be card 77 or 78. 78 leads to the number 66, matching the books in the Bible. 66 being dysprosium, and there's a lot of syncs, but this is the 39th card in the deck of, let me show you this. And this is important because we want to synchronize these. We want to learn as much as we can. That's why I'm showing all of you. There are many layers to this. But let me just tell you, again, the cards of illumination, these came first, and then the tarot came second. Okay? And this is the 39th card in the deck. Lucy in the sky with diamonds, the king of diamonds, representing water, representing the 88 constellations in the night sky. But diamonds in the tarot end up leading to money. And this card right here, the King of Pentacles, is the king of materialistic goods, materialistic possessions, the king of entrepreneurship. So when this comes into a reading, now I don't ever usually do reverse cards, but when I did pull the deck and I opened it up, it was in a reverse position. So I'm going to gently say that it could be in the reverse position, but in the upright position, this card right here, in relation to what is the dominant energy going to be in the month of July 2021, the upright position of the King of Pentacles, entrepreneurship, money, we're talking about this is the king of money. The king of money, the king of entrepreneurship. So it's either one or the other, and I know that's a big contrast. You'll be like, "Oh, well, of course you're really kind of watering it down." Listen, I pulled it reverse, but I'm typically not somebody who does reverse stuff. But what it could mean, what's the dominant energy in July of 2021? It's the king of money. Is this indicating the huge spike in cryptocurrency that I have kind of gone over a little bit? Or did it come out reversed and saying this is where the economy gets crashed next month, the dominant energy? Now, remember that the King of Diamonds is the card that's linked to that King of Pentacles, and this is the 39th card in the deck, and 39 is linked to Gemini and Sagittarius in the houses of astrology when you synchronize it that way, the higher mind and the lower mind. But it's definitely the king. And, when you look at the cards, like when I do spreads now and I do card pulls, a fun way to do them is you pick from the middle of the deck, which is what I did. Pick from the middle of the deck. And then you look at the bottom of you do 3 cards. So you have the middle of the deck, and then you have the front of the deck, and then you have the last part of the deck, which is this card in the back. And the fascinating part about the 3 cards with this card pull, which is, it's loose because the main objective was 1 card, but we ended up pulling the Trapped and Limited card, the 8 of Swords, and we had also the Emperor card, which is the king on the chessboard, which is owned and operated by Cancer and the Moon, okay? But typically you can also read it like past, present, or future, and you would have the king being the past, the present, which would be July, is the King of Pentacles. It's either going to mean a ton of money, or it could also mean, of course, the reverse, where people are not going to have any money. And then the Trapped and Limited in the future, maybe indicating where people will become trapped and limited with the whole currency situation. I don't know. That's loosely based. But the main card, folks, was the King of Pentacles. And make no mistake about it, if this card is telling us what's about to come in July, the dominant energy, this is a spike in the monetary system, and perhaps indicating the crash of the fiat currency, which I believe is definitely at hand for sure. I mean, the handwriting's on the wall. It did come out reversed, Bright Light Sites. It definitely came out reversed, but that obviously would fit the narrative of people thinking that cryptocurrency is going to crash and there will be no cryptocurrency and all that kind of stuff. But again, it could mean that the economy is going to crash. And of course, when something crashes, something has to replace that. And that would indicate perhaps giving us the two sides of the card and having an abundant flow of energy coming out into this world. So I'm going to finish this with some In the Air Tonight and a little Phil, the great Phil Collins. Let me just check some of your last comments. Can I scroll up? So thanks for sharing some of your personal stuff, Cute Bacterium. Interesting alias. If any of you are stuck, if any of you are resonating with like this person saying, I'm feeling stuck because I lived my life through parents' programs, well, you just need to eliminate and remove those programs. And the only way to eliminate and remove those programs is you need to replenish or replace. And the only way to replace is you need to discover new code. And the only way to discover new code is you need to decode yourself. And it's not an overnight sensation. It takes time. And you may need, I don't know how long. So if you've been healing, that's awesome. You've been single for 4 years, that's even better, because just know that as time goes on, you're raising your frequency and you're going to attract the same kind of frequency. So if you put another year of personal development into your life, you're just going to raise your frequency that much more if you do it right, and you'll just be on the frequency of somebody that's at that level at the time you finally get out there and put yourself on the market. So being single is, I've been single for a while now, nothing wrong with it. Because if you're willing to put time into decoding yourself and raising your frequency, when it is time to get out there and put yourself on the market, you're going to be in a much better position to attract somebody who's of a higher frequency. So you just got to keep decoding yourself, whoever you are. And if you haven't been to my YouTube channel, Decode Your Reality, go there, and on the very forefront of my Decode Your Reality channel, for new subscribers, it has how to decode yourself. And if you don't know where that video is, just go in the search box and type in how to decode yourself. And it's 10 layers of finding out all about who you are and why you're here. And that's one of the very most important videos you should be watching right now. And then don't stop there. I have other ones: how to do your totem pole, how to do your Vedic astrology, how to decode your name through Francis Bacon and numerology and tied to your cards. Know every single layer that you possibly can to remove the old programming and replace it with new programming. Okay. So that's it, folks. That's a wrap for tonight. It was a double transmission because we got jolted off. My computer froze up. But thank each and every one of you for watching this part of What's Your Question, Part 12, and the first part. I'm not even sure how long I went on for, but it was a lot of fun, and I send out a lot of love and support to all of you. If you're interested in a decode of who you are and why you're here, and you want some insights, interpretations of your charts, that's what I'm really good at. I've been at it for a while. I use many, many layers to bring it all together. My normal reading is about 3 to 4 hours long. And if you're interested in something like that, just send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com. Just request a reading, and I'll be sure to send you my website which has all my readings and pricing structures and all that kind of stuff. If you have a question that I missed and you really think it's important, send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail, and I'll be sure to do my best to get to you. Please allow 24 to 48 hours to get back to you. If I miss your email for some reason, I try to get back to everybody. Just send me another one. Always want to send a follow-up if you don't hear from me. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your donations, your Patreons. It's all greatly appreciated. You help me keep going, and it takes a lot of research to do these decodes. I put so many hours into them. I stay up long hours to do these things. It's part of my code. I love doing it, but your support is greatly appreciated. I'm in a very high state of gratitude to each and every one of you. Remember, only dictate the energy that is worthy of giving out to people that are worthy of deserving to receive your energy. And will they be giving you something in return is not so much important as to who will be receiving your energy and who you surround yourself with in this game of life. And remember that if you cannot be emotionless when you're watching some of the stuff that doesn't deserve your energy, like politics and stuff, you shouldn't be watching that kind of stuff. You should just be avoiding it until you can kind of get a hold on that. So anyway, folks, that's all I got for tonight. I love each and every one of you, even though I've not met most each and every one of you. But my name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality, and I thank each and every one of you. We will see you later.